security. So it's your, like before I say, it's your status, your responsibility. At the end, maintaining a status is your responsibility. So to make sure that your I-20, your passport, and your visa, they are all okay and they are valid, it's your responsibility. If you know that your I-20 is expiring, you're not graduating, come and talk with us. I think that's something you want to talk about, right? So I will have Sean talk about a little bit about this more, and thank you guys. I'm excited to work with you guys. I'm looking forward to it. And welcome to ICU.
Okay, so again, like this slide says, maintaining your status is your responsibility ultimately, and we're going to do our best to make sure that you know the immigration regulations. Now, I know that today was a lot of information and you're tired, and how many of you, raise your hand if you've memorized everything? Nobody? Okay. I know nobody's going to have memorized everything here, so, but I do want to do a little bit of a quiz with you and to see what you did retain, because there are some very important certain points that I want to make sure that you leave here knowing. And so I'm gonna have you just raise your hand and let me know if you know the answers to these questions, okay? It's your first quiz of your career here at IUZO. All right. How many credits do you have to be full-time? Yes. 9 credits for graduate students, right? How many for undergrad? 12, good job. How many credits do you have to have face-to-face? So we have online credits and you have face-to-face credits. How many do you have to have face-to-face? 6 for graduate students? That's good. Good job. 9 for undergraduate students. Okay. As long as you have 9 or 6 credits face-to-face, you can do as many online credits after that, right? So that's the online credit rule. Immigration wants you to be in classes for most of your classes, okay? Good. If your visa expires, here's a hard one. Sometimes it's hard. If your visa expires, do you fall out of status with immigration? No? No? Your visa's expired. Oh, you got your I-20. Yes, you're right. Good job. Yeah, so if your visa expires, it doesn't mean you're out of status. It just means you can't get back into the U.S. when you leave, right? You've got to, once you leave, you've got to renew your visa in order to get back in. It's the key to get in. Good job, guys. How many days to report address changes? How many days once you've moved? 10 days. Good job. Oh, you guys are good. Let's see. If you're having a hard time paying, here's another hard one. I think so, anyway. If you're having a hard time paying for a semester, okay, you can't afford this particular semester, can you drop below full time or just withdraw from that semester? Raise your hand if you think you know the answer.
The answer is whoever answers will get a speaker.
Correct answer will get a speaker. So again, the question is, if you're having a hard time paying for a semester, can you drop below full time or withdraw? Another way of asking that is that one of the valid reasons for dropping below full time or withdrawing for a semester and remaining in the U.S.? Not being able to pay for your semester, yes. Okay, so is the answer no or yes, that you can drop below full time? You cannot drop below full time. You are correct. Good job. And thank you for being brave in answering the question. All right, so economic hardship, yeah, you can, and you're right, you can apply for economic hardship and work off campus, but you can't drop below full time, unfortunately. You can't withdraw from the semester and remain in the U.S. If you're having a hard time paying, immigration expects you to go back home and come back when you can afford to pay again. So that just goes to making sure that you're doing what you can to maintain your scholarship, for one. Many of you have fairly significant scholarships, and so one of the things that we see often that happens, and I'm just letting you know this because it does happen often, the difficulties that students run into with immigration is when they So, you know, your first semester can be very difficult because you're trying to adjust. And if you let your grades suffer, for example, because you're not, and so you're not doing well the first semester or the second semester, that first year you're doing really poorly because you're not getting the help that you need, and you let your grades fall to where your scholarship goes away because you have to maintain that 2.5 GPA, then all of a sudden you can't afford to be in school anymore and you can't register, and that's kind of the cycle that we've seen students. The most common reason I think for falling out of status is they couldn't afford their tuition, so they weren't able to get into classes. And that it starts when you don't get the help that you need at the beginning. And so I would highly encourage you, if you feel like you're struggling, that's what Nitin is here for academic advising. There's tutoring that you can get. We want you to be successful, and we want to remove the barriers of immigration regulations that so that you can be successful and be able to focus strictly on academics. Of course, your purpose here is to succeed academically, and we want to remove all of the other barriers as much as possible for you. So that's our purpose. Okay. Let's see. One of the things I just wanted to mention, Khalil talked about. You know, he's from Afghanistan. He was a student here, and I love the fact that your immigration advisors, both your immigration advisors and your academic advisors were international students at one point, right? Jesse, when were you an international student? Should I ask that question? Yeah, but when was it?
Oh, that was 1991.
Oh, see, I should have asked that question. Nitin, when were you an international student? 2004? Okay. So these guys have experience. They've been where you are, and so they know some of the challenges that are unique to international students, and they definitely know the immigration rules inside and out. So don't be afraid to come to our office and utilize their help. They're experts in their fields, and I appreciate all that they do. One of the most important things also, I do want to clarify one thing just back here. This screen, and I'm highlighting this because we need you to update your address. It's the only way that we can register your CVIS record. So I need you to know how this works. This here is for new addresses. If you're changing your address, what you have to do is you have to click on the blue link where it says current, and that's how you change your address. If you click this, it's just going to insert a new address. And so if you're changing your address, so all of you today, I'd like you to go home and put in a new address, right? If you haven't already put in an address. And you'll select for your Pocatello address resides at, right? And don't change your permanent. That should always be your foreign address from home. But the resides at address, we don't care what you do with your mailing. You can have your stuff mailed to wherever you'd like. But this is the one that's linked to immigration, the resides at address. So today I want you to go and make sure you put in your address, especially if you're at a hotel and so you didn't know your address at first and now you do. Make sure you put in your resides at address. In the future, going down, you know, you've been here for a couple semesters and you change your address, make sure you click on the blue link. That's to update our current address. Okay? Make sense? Any questions about that? Okay. How are we doing on time? Oh, perfect. Let's see, we've just got the laptop to raffle, so we'll do that at the very end. We have our next speakers are here, so let's introduce them. We've got Emily Jasmine, right? And Ambry from, oh, okay. And from Campus Employment. And so please welcome Emily.
All right, just bear with us for a couple minutes while we get my PowerPoint set up. And if anyone notices that I leave that behind, yell as I'm leaving. Emily! Yes, how's everyone doing this morning? You awake? How many people here are jet lagged? Still? Okay, yeah. What time is it where you're from? Yeah. 6 p.m. Okay, dinner time. How about who else? Somebody in the back said they're still. What time? Where are you coming from?
England.
England? Okay. Tea time, right? Your evening tea? Is that right? Am I not using that right? I thought that tea was like kind of, it could be in the morning, it could be in like your afternoon tea.
I don't drink tea.
You don't drink- Well, I thought it was like a replacement for a meal. In Australia they do that. They're like, we're having tea, and I'm like, that's
Just another way of saying
Yeah. anything.
Other than breakfast. Could be
It's
lunch
tea.
or dinner.
Interesting. All right, I'm learning new things. So, my name's Emily Josman. I am from the Career Center here. I manage the Career Path Internship Program, which is housed within the Career Center. Has anybody been to the Career Center yet? Yeah, a couple people. All right, so we'll get started, and then I think in my slides I talk about where we are located. So, what do we offer? What is the Career Center? So we offer a variety of different services. The first one is career counseling. So we have licensed counselors who you can set up appointments with and sit down. Maybe you don't know what you want to go into. Maybe you've started going into some classes and you're like, I don't want to do this for the next 30 years of my life. You can sit down with the career counselor and they can go through your wants, your needs, kind of what you're hoping to do with your life, and hopefully help you find maybe a better fit or just confirm what you are studying is what you should be. There's also assessments and personality inventories. So has anyone heard of the Myers-Briggs assessment? You got a person that's been to the Career Center knows about Myers-Briggs. So it's an assessment that you take and that you answer a whole bunch of different questions, and then it tells you, if you're an extrovert or an introvert, or if you're more left-brained or right-brained, and then with that information you can look at what might be a good fit for you in the future for careers. So it's fun, it's cool. You can compare with your friends. I'm an ENS. I don't know. Anyway, you get 4 letters and you can compare, and it's something that's interesting to do. We also do resume reviews. So I'm sure nobody here likes to write their resumes, edit their resumes. If you do, you should consider working at Career Center. But for everybody else who doesn't like doing that, we can help out. We can proofread. We can say maybe use this verb instead of that. So that's available. Mock interviews for when you're going out to interview for positions, even on campus. If you want to practice, we've had students that come up and want to practice, how do I shake somebody's hand? What's the right grip? How close do I stand? And being from different countries, you guys all know that there are differences with interacting with people based on what country you're in. So you can set those up. We have job postings, and there's a slide after this that I'll get to about job postings a little bit more. We have our career and job fairs. So next Thursday, there's a part-time internship and job fair that's going to be in the ballroom. Please come to that if you're looking for employment while you're here at school. And then we also have job shadowing opportunities. So if you're like, I wonder what a lawyer does all day, we have people that will help you set up a job shadowing opportunity where you can go and spend a day or two or maybe a week with somebody in their professional setting. So lots of cool things at the Career Center. For job postings, so we have a website called Handshake. That's all the online job postings for ISU students. You use your 4x4 to your login, your Bengal ID login, I guess you call it that, login. So if you go to the Career Center website, there'll be the on and off campus job postings. If you click there, it'll bring in that Bengal web login page, and then you can look for jobs online, or not online, sorry, jobs on campus. You can look for off campus. you do part-time, you can search all different kinds of ways, and also for internships, maybe during the summer or after you graduate. So make sure you check out Handshake. It's pretty cool, pretty nifty. Like I mentioned, we are having that part-time job fair next Thursday in the ballroom. How many people here are considering looking for jobs or will need to work or want to work on campus? Anybody? I don't want to work either. I'd like to go back to school. So. Well, if you just change your mind, check it out. There's going to be, you can also just get a lot of freebies over there. People bring, I know they, let's see, I think we had Mandarin House, or there was an Asian restaurant that had free fortune cookies, which was kind of nice. So go check out the goodies, the promos. And that's from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. next Thursday. So I briefly mentioned that I manage the Career Path Internship Program here at ISU. It's a great opportunity. It's an internship program where we pay all of our students to get professional experience in their field of study. So we have on-campus internships and off-campus internships. For on-campus, some examples would be maybe you're an accounting major. You could be working with the accounting program, or you could even be working with finance and business affairs, helping do audits and real-life things. All of our internships are across all the different colleges. So if you're arts and letters, if you're College of Science and Engineering, if you're business, if you're education, all the different colleges participate in the CPI program. So it's really cool, and you guys should try to partake in it. See what else. So for international students, if you do, there is a possibility to work off campus, but you do have to make sure that you check in with the IPO office and follow all your visa rules that I'm not going to try to explain because I'm not the expert. But there is an opportunity for you guys to work off campus, and some of those internships are really amazing, and we've had students that have bridged out from those internships into full-time employment after they graduate. So it's a really cool way to get your foot in the door. And I'm also just a huge fan of it. And we have about 1,000 internships that happen each year. So there's not just like 5 and none of you will get it. There's real opportunity for you to get these really life-changing internship opportunities. So if you're wondering how you can find an internship, go on Handshake. You can type in the keyword CPI. That'll bring up any that are posted right now. But also talk to your departments, talk to your advisors, talk to even the front desk people, saying, I heard about the CPI program, how do you guys hire? A lot of different departments have different hiring processes, so they might just take students' names, they might have an internal hiring process. So I always say, get out there, make yourself known that you're interested in it. They might have some type of a wait list, you might have to be at least a junior level, but if you show that you are interested and authentic about wanting it, I think you'd get a lot better chance of landing an internship. So we are located, let's see. So there's a big long hallway called the hypostyle that connects the Student Union building, which is what we're in, the museum building. So if you go through that long building, it's right across the hall from the IPO. You guys have probably all been to the International Programs office. So it's on the 4th floor of the museum building. We're actually around the corner, not across the hall. But if you get lost, you can always pop into the IPO, pop into the grad school, just ask anybody, tackle somebody, whatever you need to do. Come visit us. And we've got really, really comfy couches that don't get used enough. So if you need somewhere quiet to chill out, please come up and use our couches. If you want to make an appointment, you can do it on Handshake. You can call or you can stop by. We don't have drop-in appointments right now, so I would say call or use Handshake first if you need something immediately, just to make sure that you don't make the hike up there and then you can't see it again. So I think that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions for me? No. Well, thank you guys for your time, and welcome to Pocatello and Idaho and the US. and get rest, have tea, drink tea, eat tea, whatever. I'm getting my bag. You don't have to get.
All right. So, how's everybody doing? You doing okay? Again, if you need to get some coffee or juice, feel free to grab some. I'm going to talk a little bit about some other important issues. Okay. So, all right. So, I did get through this slide just real quick. Make sure you get your immigration questions answered by an immigration advisor and not your friends. Sometimes students make the mistake of hearing things about immigration from their friends, and then they get in trouble that way. So just make sure you come to us. We will send you announcements through email if immigration regulations change, which they do sometimes, not very often. Little things will change. We'll send you those announcements. Make sure you read them and don't ignore them. Sometimes they will apply very directly to you. Okay. Living in the U.S. I want to ask you guys first. I know you haven't been here very long yet. Some of you just a day, maybe a couple of days. What is the most surprising thing about the U.S. so far for you? What's been the most surprising thing, good or bad? The food? What you said? Okay. What's different about the food? Well, it's not spicy. They said so spicy. I don't think our food's not so spicy. Okay. So that's a little different. What else? What's most surprising? You're not too shocked by the weather yet. You came in the summertime, but you will be. A lot of students mention the weather, especially in the wintertime when we get new students in January. The weather is going to get pretty cold, and especially in about February, and we, depending on the year, we can get quite a bit of snow as well. So if you're not used to snow, that's going to be different for you. Any other surprising things about the U.S. or the people? Anyone brave enough to say? How about from our current students? What were some of the most surprising things for you guys? The weather, okay. Someone coming from Nigeria, the weather is quite surprising. Anything else?
You answer a question, you will get a gift card.
I answered the question.
For a gift card, what's the most surprising thing about the U.S. so far? Yes. What's that? Yeah, one more time. Huh? Guns. What you said? Guns. What about, are the guns different here, or tell me about that? Right. So the fact that we have so many guns, right, in the U.S. So, yeah, the gun culture is that. I mean, that is a very American cultural thing in the U.S. That every American has the right to bear arms and have a gun. Does that make you guys nervous at all? Sometimes a little bit. Okay. And I know there's been some things in the news, some incidents that have happened, and as somebody said earlier, Pocatello is one of the safest campuses in the U.S., and so I hope you don't feel scared to be here or anything. But there are some practical things you'll want to do to be safe, and I'm going to talk about safety here in just a minute. Anything else? Anything anybody else wanted to share? No more gift cards. Yes. Metric system, having to get used to this different system of ours is a little bit of a challenge, I would imagine. Every time I go abroad, people tell me the weather in Celsius, and that makes no sense to me. So it's something that I understand is hard to get used to. Okay. All right. Well, I'd like to hear from you guys about what's surprising to you, and as Cheryl was saying earlier, there are going to be things that you're going to continue. I mean, I know you're just brand new here. You're going to continue to find things, particularly with people that are different than your home country, and you're going to possibly have culture shock, and there are services here on campus to help you cope with those kind of things. All right, being safe. Again, ISU is one of the safest campuses, but it is wise to be careful. Introduce yourself to your neighbors. If you live off campus, particularly, it's a good idea to just get to know your neighbors. Americans are generally pretty friendly, especially in Pocatello. We are the smile capital of the world, right? Did you hear that? Pocatello is the smile capital of the world, with a lot of smiling people, evidently. So get to know your neighbors, lock your doors and your personal belongings. Sometimes people take for granted that because it is a safe place, you don't think you're going to get your stuff stolen. Don't think that. Stuff gets stolen. So keep your personal stuff safe and locked up. Okay? Policing in the U.S. The local police are there to protect you. Okay? I know you've seen a lot of American movies maybe, and the police are not necessarily like the people in the movies, right? In reality, especially in Pocatello, I think the local police are great people, and they are there to protect. Keep in mind the traffic stops. Make sure you're finding a crosswalk when you cross a street. But even when, now in the US, and this is different than a lot of places, the pedestrian, the person walking across the street, has the right of way, especially when you're in a crosswalk. But don't assume that the person's going to stop for you. Always make eye contact with the driver, okay? And make sure that they are actually slowing down before you start walking across the street. We have had international students get hit by cars, even in crosswalks. And so just be aware of that. Find a crosswalk and then just make eye contact, and you'll be just fine, okay? When you drive, you must always have these items. You have to have a driver's license, you have to have your car registration in the car, and you've got to have insurance, car insurance, and proof of that car insurance. So an officer, when they pull you over, they're always going to ask for those things. They want to see your driver's license, proof of registration, and proof of insurance, okay? If you don't have those things, it's against the law, you can get ticketed. How many of you have cars, by the way? I'd be surprised if any of you. Oh, good. Okay, you have a car. Or plan to get a car and drive while you're here. Anybody else? Okay. Parking, do watch the street signs. There are some places you're not allowed to park, so keep an eye on that. And again, your crosswalks, just be careful. We don't want anybody getting hit. One more thing about the police. Some cultures, it's different when you get pulled over by a police officer. You can just get out of your car and go talk to the person. In the US, if you get pulled over, don't get out of your car. Okay, that's like a red flag for the police. They want you to stay in your car. Keep your hands up on the steering wheel so they can see your hands. And they're going to be very friendly, and hopefully not everybody's totally friendly, but we do want you to be safe. And so again, you just pull over, let the police officer come up to the side of your car, and they'll chat with you there through the window. But don't get out of your car. Okay, we've heard of students doing that, and it becomes an issue. So. In the U.S., that's what the expectation is for police officers. Okay, local law, well, U.S. law, the legal drinking age is 21. So if you're not 21, you're not supposed to be drinking. Age of consent is 18 years old. What that means is any sexual relations needs to be with somebody who is 18 or older. Okay? If you have any sexual relationships with someone below 18, that's a big problem in the U.S. Okay, so make sure you know. Any questions about any of that so far? Be healthy. Drink water, eat food. Okay. Exercise, be involved. These are things that will help you be healthy and happy while you're pursuing your education. Health insurance is a must. It is the law to have insurance, health insurance. Especially for the J1 students. Again, raise your hand if you're an exchange student. Okay, those of you who are just here for a semester or a year. You guys already know that you have insurance requirements, and many of your insurance, the insurance that you have at your home covers you. If it doesn't cover you, we may require you to purchase additional insurance, but there are specific requirements for you guys, and Kirby will talk to you about those when you check in with her if you haven't already talked about it. But for F1 students, you guys need to have insurance too, for practical reasons, and the law does require it. Now, we're not going to be looking for proof of insurance. Immigration doesn't require us to check for proof of insurance, but from a practical sense, you really do want to have health insurance. You never know. I know you're young and think you're invulnerable. I know I did when I was young, but accidents happen and you can get sick, and it becomes very costly if you have to, if depending on the health problem. So having health insurance is actually affordable. So I did put the insurance brochures out there on the table as you're leaving today. Make sure you pick up a couple. You can take one of each. There's a number of companies that provide health insurance for international students. And they keep them as cheap as possible. So it's like $30 a month or somewhere around there. Okay. All right. Again, we want you to be involved. I just want you to be aware of the cultural clubs that are available on campus. Some of these aren't there anymore, but most of them are available. So the Korean Club, Japanese Club, the Chinese Student Association, the International Student Association. These are just student clubs that are there to, if you want to join. Don't think that to join the Korean Club you have to be from Korea, or to be in the German club that you have to be German, or anything like that. You can join whatever club you would like, and I would encourage you to. Okay, just a couple things about housing. If you're living on campus, that's a great thing. We would encourage you to live on campus if you can. It allows you to interact with domestic students and have a great experience on campus. Just a couple things about off-campus. If you are going to live off-campus, make sure you know what contract you're signing and what's in the contract. Don't just blindly sign contracts. One thing you might want to do is ask about the utilities. Some renters include utilities in the cost of rent, some do not. So if you think that you're getting the electricity and water as part of your rent, you may be surprised that it's not included. So make sure you just are aware of that. A deposit will typically be expected, almost always. So there's going to be a certain amount of money that they're going to expect up front that they hold until you leave your residence. And so what you're going to want to do is make sure you don't destroy the apartment, keep it clean, so that when you do leave at the end, you can get that deposit back. Because they'll give you back your deposit as long as you kept the place looking nice. All right, and then I want you to be aware of email and phone scams. Sometimes there are scammers out there who will take advantage of international students. If it feels like a scam, it probably is. okay? So just be aware that there are scammers who target international students in specific ways, sometimes using your immigration status and other things. When we hear about those, we will let you know by email, but just be aware that there are scams out there, once you get taken. Phones, if you need a phone, a prepaid phone is an easy way to do that. We do know that Verizon offers an 18% discount to students. If you're going to need a bank account while you're here, a lot of students use the ISU Credit Union because it's nearby. In fact, there's a branch right here on campus, or a small office just down the hallway. And so it's very convenient, good option if you want to take advantage of that. Transportation. So again, we told you that Friday, tomorrow, we're going to provide free transportation to get to Pocatello Shopping District. You can also take a bus if you don't want to wait till tomorrow to get some things. So the buses on campus are free for students. This is the J route, and I think the H route, if this is still current. It's free for ISU students. It just takes you around campus, up the upper campus and lower campus. And they pick up and drop off around campus every 7 to 8 minutes. And then there are other buses. I can't remember I think it's like a B route, an A route, and a C route. They go around Pocatello. And it's about $1 to ride the bus. And they will take you, it just goes all around Pocatello. So you can get to like Red Meyer, Walmart, Old Town, and then it loops back around to the campus. I think it takes 45 minutes to an hour for a whole route. You have to plan ahead. And but you can get those routes at PocatelloTransit.com. And that's a good way to do it. All right. Any questions so far? Yes. Is it Bingo Creek? It was going to be probably about the same, just $1. Now, I don't know. Do you know, Sue? 25 cents? Oh, okay. Oh, just to get on the bus is 25 cents. Well, that's good. Bingo Creek. That's the off-campus apartment complex. Cool. About 25 cents. Okay. Any other questions? All right. So let's see. We are at the tips from your peers. So